Welcome to episode 5 of Castoshi. I'm Zubair, your host, and today we're going to talk to Steffen Kirkegaard about Gamers.Gold. So, welcome, Steffen. So,
Thank you. Good to have me.
Could you introduce yourself a bit, please?
Yeah, sure. I am a crypto enthusiast and a gamer, of course. I've been working in the crypto space since 2013. I was interested before. I wanted to invest before, but didn't do it. I think that I had the same clutter around it, like a lot of people. Why should you invest in this digital stuff here? But then I went to a bar with some friends, and we had some bitcoins on our wallets, and we bought some beers for the bitcoins, and it was like, okay, now it's a utility. You can actually do stuff with it. So it was interesting and it was fun. That was 2013. But then I forgot about it. For me, it was a crypto winter. I know that it was not. There was not a crypto winter. But even when you look back, there was a crypto winter from like the 90s to the zeros and up to 2009 in crypto. And I've been a gamers for the Gamers.Gold. Gold is the crypto here. We're going to make a gold standard, a new gold standard. I'm going to come back to this. But then we had the gaming stuff that I was on a gaming console back in 1978. I'm an old guy, but it was fun back then as well.
How old are you? When you say you're an old guy, how old are you then?
I'm 50 actually.
Right, same as me.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. So the thing is that I've been playing a lot of games my whole life, and always had these experiences, and it was fun. And now it changed into be much more collaborative, and also. But when it's collaborative, it means that if you want to win a game, you need to collaborate with somebody else. That's why you need to have the headset on. You need to speak with people. You have to say where people are. Intel is very important in games. And I think that some of the things that we're looking at right now, I know that I'm jumping a bit here, but
no, I'm going to ask some questions. I'm
also going to talk about the metaverse and where Gamers.Gold can be a part of that. But all these things that is happening right now is very much gaming actually. And I think in my objectives, the companies, when we're taking them into the equation, they will have gamification, which is not the same as gaming, but it's like making, even when you go out and just purchase a normal daily grocery, it will be more fun actually.
Okay.
Some kind of competition or some kind of just that you can win something by
okay. So you're making a token which can be used in games or in real life as well. Okay. Can I just go back a bit? You said you bought your first Bitcoin in 2013. Was this in Denmark? Because I used to live in Denmark as well. So
it was very complicated. I had to have a iPhone, so I had to borrow my girlfriend's iPhone. And she was like, "No, you can't use it for this. I don't know what it is." And she was like kind of scared, like most people are still, and they still are
scared because you were using the phone or because you were using it to buy Bitcoin.
I had to use to have a wallet. It was not applicable with Androids for some strange reason. So I had to have an iPhone. So I had to take.
I didn't know that. I didn't
iPhone back then to download this app and do these purchases and get these. One beer cost 4 Bitcoin, and it was fine.
Was that in Copenhagen? I think I remember this. Where I saw something saying there was a bar accepting Bitcoins, and you know.
Yeah. It was, and then we had a lot of other bars actually.
So that was a $200,000 drink you had.
Today it is. Back then it was okay, but it was just exchanging. It was just, instead of using normal Danish kroner, you used these tokens.
But you can't think about it. You'll go mad. I mean, obviously you've kept your sanity. Otherwise you wouldn't still be in the game. But I know people who lost Bitcoins in those times, and they've literally lost their sanity. And I know quite a few. And I'm guessing, do you know people who've been through this as well? Or have you been through it?
Yeah, of course I know people who did the same. And I also had a great story from one of my friends. He told me that that they were actually discussing this over a bottle of vodka, and there was a fun evening, and they wanted to go out the day after and buy this Bitcoin. They were really sure about it, but then they forgot about it, and now they're like, why didn't we do this? No, I just want to say one thing, because Bitcoin is like the internet in the 80s, where everybody in universities, because now it was out of the military, it started to use it for some articles and books and stuff like this in the universities. And of course, the assignments that people have done to become bachelors and masters or whatever they become in the universities, all this was up there you could look through it, indexed, and that is like the same thing right now. We have been there at the beginning where it's really, really, really young, and now it's starting to mature. So we're moving into the thing that happened in the 90s.
Yeah, I agree.
Suddenly somebody gets a Hotmail. Back in 1993, people started to hear about, I think it was 1994 actually, first time you heard about the
no, I think Hotmail, I heard about that in 97, I think.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
But it was really, really early.
Yeah.
And people jumped this because then you could have an email. I had an email from an education I was in at that time. So it's like, okay, I'm a first mover here. It's great. And then you had an email, but it's not like now. This is a whole economic system that is evolving in front of us. So then you had the .com boom, and a lot of businesses were just artificially blown up by money, and they only had to have a .com regulatory URL. It was like, all right, there's nothing in it. That's why they blew up. Of course, they've been investing in nothing.
Like some of these projects, isn't it?
That's the shit coins. Yeah. So you know the story.
No. But you should say, because I think people who are watching this, a lot of people won't be. You have to remember. I mean, a lot of people won't know all the technical terms or the history. So it's always good to repeat it and let them know.
Yeah. So I want people to understand that there's a hype cycle, but those hype cycle, it goes like waves. There's a new hype cycle crossing the next hype cycle. So when one hype cycle is in the hype and people are like, oh, this is fantastic, then the .com goes off and nobody has any money in this. Some of them say, okay, we go back to brick and mortar. Some of them, the investors say, no, never again. It's not going to happen. And they are all in the game, of course, because tech is huge business, of course. And then there's a new hype cycle. And the new hype cycle here is, of course, Web 3.0. And we can talk about that as well.
Well, the second version of Web 3, because they used to mean it was something else.
Yeah, and I think that this Web 3.0 is the right thing that we should call it. People were calling it in Industry 4.0 as well, but actually Web 3.0 is it's a better way of seeing it. Like this is a big wave. And I want to talk to you about this, because if you lost it a lot in the beginning, as we talked about before we started the podcast, you got hurt, but you also got more knowledge about stuff. So you won't do the same thing again in the future. You know something, and you won't do it again. And I think that people coming in late will do some of the same stuff unless they're listening to podcasts and thinking like, whoa, I shouldn't have done that. And
this guy did people this, coming into the crypto space.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
they're coming into the crypto space. They're watching this podcast. They're listening to people like us talking about what we did, what was wrong. But there's so many pitfalls out there, and it's a wild west.
I did everything wrong.
Yeah, I did so much. It still is.
Yeah.
This is the interesting thing. I'm building Gamers.Gold, but the thing is that we have to do all on our own. There's nobody I can ask. I can ask advices, but it will always be like, what do you think? So it's not like going to a university that is like the 5 forces or there's blue ocean strategy or something like this. It's not built. You have to build it. And all the thoughts about tokenomics and Web 3.0 is also very new, but that is where we have to be, the inventors and the innovators. But we have to understand that we are building on of course, something that already is here. That's already here, the crypto economy. But a lot of things has to be more. I would say that it has to be finished, but it's never finished. It's always in beta. So some of these stuff that we're building our company on has to be more mature. Let's say it in that manner. But
can I take a step back for anyone listening? So I remember when I first heard about Web 3.0, I was like, what does this mean? Is this some buzzword or whatever? And then one day they told me to install MetaMask. And I was like, and they said, oh, okay. They said basically this is Web 3 and you can load tokens in and start transactions. And to me, I was like, oh, I get it. Okay, so that's Web 3.0. Is that how you and I said, well, and then I realized that, you could the tokens meant you could share it in these ecosystems. And I was like, okay, what else is it? And people were like, well, that's kind of it. How would you define it? Or is that a good description?
I will extend it a bit more because then you have an economy, and we have tokenomics, but you also have to build your own tokenomics. But what is tokenomics? Tokenomics is tokens with economy system built into them, where you can go out and say, first of all, the tokenomics were really simple. If you remember the ICO world, which means initial coin offering, which is equivalent to IPOs, but IPOs is much more centralized, and of course it's governed right by the government, and there's a regulation. Then you have the Wild Wild West with the ICO, and a lot of companies do the first burst there, like the .com. A lot of crap companies, a lot of shit tokens, a lot of
are you talking about the first ICOs? Because
but
some people would say that Bitcoin is. Some people would say Bitcoin was it didn't ICO, but it was the first coin offering, but it grew organically, in a way.
True. Yeah, it was. But they didn't announce it as an ICO.
Yeah, they didn't. No one announced it. Yeah.
So because nothing was called an ICO at that moment.
Yeah, and I think if Vital and Buterin, I mean, in 2013, he thought of the concept of the decentralized organization, and I think when now here's where I'm not sure about the dates. You probably know better. I think it's like 2016, wasn't it, that they released the Ethereum DAO, and then it got hacked, and then it was a bit of a crypto winter. I can't remember the dates. Maybe you could refresh me a bit on this.
No, I'm not so much into that story either. I just follow Ethereum, and I think that the gas fees are too high. So it's not for me. I think that Vitalik has done a lot of good things for the ecosystem as well. He also got away from the ICOs and did the safe ones. What are they called? I can't remember. But you have to do something where people are actually KYC'd when they're going into to buy the tokens, and all in the company are KYC'd. And that was what I wanted to say before. You had a website produced in some foreign country, mostly the Eastern Bloc, and they were all looking like Brad Pitt, and they were all CEOs. And I'm exaggerating, of course, but
this is ICOs,
yeah, that was the ICOs. And it was like, people were investing in this because they were all like riding the same horse here and thinking like, it's going to the moon, and that makes a lot of trouble afterwards because that wasn't the thing. And now we have a lot of new options to do crowdfunding, and you also have some lawmakers in here, some lawyers who understand how to do it the right way. And some of the companies, so many of the countries are looking into to legitimize doing ICOs and stuff like this, doing the crowdfunding. So it's more legit, and there's more form on what's going on here. But I think that's the start of tokenomics. And what I want to say is that you have this pie chart, and the pie chart is what was the tokenomics, who is going to have this part of the tokens, and that was the early tokenomics. But I think that tokenomics is much more interesting when it comes to how you can, by mining or by staking or by doing stuff later on, is more interesting. How can we involve the gamers in Gamers.Gold with doing something like the mining or the staking, or by, as I just spoke to Eric about, can we actually make tokenomics work by people going down to the local store and scanning stuff? I don't know if you have it, but in my local store, I can just scan the grocery, and then I pay, and then I walk out of the grocery. I don't do anything that just show my phone that I paid.
Oh, yeah, well, no, we don't have that yet in Britain. I mean, I used to live in Denmark, but I'd left Copenhagen a couple of years ago, and I moved to Herning, actually, if you know it, in the middle of nowhere. And then I moved back to Britain this year. So no, but I haven't seen that. No. So what? You can go into a store and you just scan your item, and how do you get charged for it then?
I just say now I want to pay, and then I swipe, and then I can pay with my credit card that I've of course put in and used Google Pay or Apple Pay, whatever phone I'm on, or I can use something called mobile pay that is from the Danske Bank, and so there's a lot of options to pay.
Oh, you pay the till? You have to scan it yourself, you mean?
I scan the grocery, put them in my bag, and then I walk out.
Oh, yeah, okay. But it's not you scan them when you pick them off the shelf.
I pick them off the shelf, I scan them, and I put them in the bag.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I've seen that, and I'm so old-fashioned in some ways that I never used it. And I did see people with those Star Trek-looking things doing it.
It's really simple. But think about this: if you want to gamify this, so people are playing a game and they know now, okay, if I do this purchase, I will get an option to buy a skin in-game, which means that I can tell the people in the store that they should put their stuff into our gamification engine. So this is a new way of staking. You will also get some coins when you do the right things in the real world. So you're going around and scanning, or if you buy the right car, blah blah blah. There could be a green environmental scheme for this, that you're actually helping something good going on, and somebody would put some tokens after you for this. Or that you can make some tokens just by doing this, and we have the tokenomics build up around this. And it's a very different way of thinking tokenomics.
Okay, I think to explain, there's many aspects to tokenomics. You'd mentioned earlier about IPOs. So IPOs were when companies went to the stock market, of course. And I'd say the biggest difference with ICOs or IDOs, for example, like if something's listed on Binance or IEOs, they've got so many names for it, but it's all the same thing, really. And I think that the big difference from crypto offerings and traditional offerings is if you have a normal company and you take it public, you can keep issuing new shares. But if you do an ICO, usually the total supply of shares is limited. And that's why some people say, why are some of these ICO companies worth so much? And I think the answer is it's because often there won't be any new shares issued. And this is something actually a lot of crypto people don't understand. Like I've talked to so many crypto investors, and they're looking at all these coins saying, oh, should I buy Shiba Inu? Should I buy this? Should I buy that? And they say it's really cheap. And I say, don't buy that shit. And they say, why? But it's so cheap. And I say, don't buy it because also Dogecoin as well. I say, look, forget the token price, just look at the market cap. And then they say, oh, but it's got a low market cap. I say, don't look at the market cap. I say, sorry, look at the fully diluted market cap. That's the only thing that matters in the token. Nothing else matters, because that's what the whales and and institutions look at. Like they don't care if something's $100 or $1 million or 1 cent. They just look at the market cap, fully diluted market cap. So that's one aspect of it. And then when you're talking about tokenomics, you're also talking about, so if you have a company, of course, a company will issue shares to the employees if they do good work. that's the tokenomics of a company. Or Microsoft might give employees share options. But what you're talking about with people earning tokens is basically, how do people earn the tokens of this particular crypto? And it could be that they're shopping in the shops and they earn some of the tokens, or they're doing some deed. Now, I don't know if yeah. Sorry.
But also in game, you're running around, you're opening chests in World of Warcraft, and you're doing a lot of stuff. But that will also be a part of the mining process for you. So go out and do all this, and we will throw some coins after you because you're doing this. So we want to do something more into the world, so people understand that they can also do good by doing gaming. So when they're running around and doing all this stuff, we will give them some money, but we also share some money to a project that they prefer. They could even be a project in their own city. We want to do some impact here. So there could be a city. Let's take Kenya. One of my developers is from Kenya. There's a lot of cities down there that needs clean water. So if you're doing gaming and you get a lot of money out of that, we will share some tokens to a project with the clean water.
Okay. So now we're getting into the meat of what Gamers.Gold is. So
that's where the gold comes in. Yeah.
Okay. So charities are okay. So maybe let's take a step back here then. So I keep saying that because I think we need some context. So a lot of people who are in the gaming space, right? So they're looking and they're saying, "Oh, but traditionally I've played Electronic Arts games and I've played FIFA, whichever year it is, and I've played this game and that game." And then they're saying, "Oh, and now I've started playing Axie Infinity, or I've started building something in the sandbox, or I've and there's a whole load of other games coming out there as well, in these like gaming studios, and it's become like a huge growth area, and it's still quite small. It's probably worth about $30 or $40 billion, but it's probably set to grow massively, simply because so many people, and it's giving a lot of people a chance to earn income, who might not have had a chance otherwise, simply by sitting at home playing games. Now, the thing is, if someone's looking at Gamers.Gold, they're going to say, well, what is the use case of it? For example, with Axie Infinity, would they ever accept Gamers.Gold? Would they let you use it inside?
No, because they have their own ecosystem. Okay. We're much more for the games that don't have any kind of tokenomics at all. And most of the games actually have XP points that you can make in game, and then you buy them for real currency. But why not buy them with tokens? But we're kind of a third layer. So what we do is actually we just look at the log file and actually go in and say, okay, who won? And then they have had a battle. These two guys. Let's say that you and me playing in Fortnite, and you go and say, okay, I have put up this battle. I want to battle anybody who can battle me in 10 minutes. Well, let's see who gets most headshots. I come in and see it on the wall because it's like Twitter. And there will be a battle. I think, okay, Fortnite, yes, that's me. Headshots, 10 minutes. Okay, let's go for it. And I accept this battle. So now I put 10 on the table too. So now there's 20 in the pool because you said it was a 10 game. And I say, okay, cool. And then we play. 10 minutes is over. Let's say you have 50 headshots and I have 20. You win. You take the amount of money. And the simple business model here is that we take 10% the Gamers.Gold. That's the business model here. We take a fee. But in that platform, you can do a lot of things in that platform. We're going to make a white label solution. So we could have, for example, let's take Toyota as a car company. They want to go into esport. They want to do tournaments and stuff like this. They can actually use the platform. And it's just plastered in with the Toyota. It's all branded with Toyota instead of Gamers.Gold. but they get the same opportunity to build their own token, to have a crowdfunding platform where they can crowdfund stuff, or they can use the charity platform where we have a lot of NGOs that they can help. But everybody who's coming into this platform and already know it, they can also go into the to the tournament that Toyota sets up on Gamers.Gold. We will of course show that. We'll provide marketing for Toyota with their stuff that they want people to play on. So what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna have all of these companies to understand what kind of tokenomics they can use. So that's why it's so important for us to bring out the story about what is tokenomics. It's not just the share in a company, and it's not only who owns what in a company of the employees or the shareholders or the investors. That's the normal model here. All the gamers has a share by gaming and getting into this because they have some tokens. And now you see that everybody with a huge pile of token can do more, of course, than people with less. But then again, put your time and your effort into this, and then this simple model of you and me just playing for headshots can actually evolve into a lot more. And after this, we're thinking of how can we make the whole tokenomics around this so it gives impact. Impact is important here because, and as I started this podcast saying that we have this, nobody knows a lot about tokenomics. And as it was only the shares, but now tokenomics can be something where people are minting or mining or whatever you call it, doing the gamification stuff down in the local store and stuff like this. So you actually get more when you're gaming, and this is the basic thing. So you can help your local community when you're gaming, and I think that
you're talking about a big vision here, aren't you? You're talking about the big vision of Gamers.Gold.
It is a big vision, yeah. It is.
So can I ask you a few questions on the actual? Does the token exist at the moment?
Yeah, we have some tokens on a system, but I would say that is some of the. We probably won't go with that system because they didn't understand that we're going to do impact. They didn't understand that because they said that they're only into companies that do impact, and we said that we are doing.
So you're testing it. You're in the testing stage at the moment.
Then they were going into more like, okay, then it has to be a non-profit company. It's like, okay, no, it's not a non-profit company. There is profit in this, definitely. So
you're saying you're in the testing stage is what I'm trying to get to.
I want to say that we started out with somebody who told us that after we built it in and we had it in the system, told us that they didn't like our model, more or less. So I think that's the wild west here. Somebody says, okay, we want you, but then they don't want anyone anyways. So we're actually out looking for the right backend here to back us up and help us out, who understands our vision and can see the potential of bringing in 2.8 billion gamers in any games they want to play, and they can play for money against each other, and it's skill-based gaming. So yeah, we're on the outlook for that.
But what about what platforms are similar to this? What about Chili's? Because I know they let you make custom tokens. Is there any platforms which do anything similar to what you're saying?
Oh, we have some competitors, but they are doing it on fiat currencies, what you call the old currencies, US dollars. They're also in the UK, so you're using sterling. And yeah, so we have some competitors. They're more focused on tournaments. We are focused on what we call battles, because we want this to be instant, so we can even do it in Tetris. Just say, okay, I can do more Tetris blocks than you can in 10 minutes, and that's the fight. So it can be very simple when you build up. It doesn't have to be Fortnite or PUBG or Warzone, all these fantastic titles that is out there. It can also be really, really simple old school Tetris. That is the most played game in the world, by the way. So
okay, so you're saying that this was basically, it's going to be a system that will be for third parties to embed in their games, and you'll provide the SDK, and then they plug into it, and what they get out of it is they earn Actually, if you're a developer, so if I'm a developer and I build a game online using your token, what do I get out of it?
Well, that's two things. First of all, we'll do a split revenue with the gaming companies, of course. Then we will give them some gamers who wants to play in their game, especially for early starters. So let's take the time back to 2016. Was it Blizzard? I can't remember now, but then again, Fortnite. Then they were starting out in 2016, and nobody knew about them. They could have been on our platform. People started playing for money, and then there was money already from the beginning. They didn't have to wait for people to buy. It is a free game. Remember this. So it's free to play, but there's a lot of stuff that you can buy in the game. But people starting to play against each other for money from the beginning, there will be a split revenue from the beginning. The next thing is that if you are a game developer, you will have the option of doing the crowdfunding, just as we are doing. And doing a crowdfunding towards the gamers who love the game will, of course, put money into the crowdfunding as well. So now you have a full circle ecosystem for that game. And then all the other stuff that we have in Gamers.Gold with the NGOs and the companies who sees that, oh, wow, this is actually booming right now. So we have to look into, is it exploding? Is people actually rushing in to play this game? Because some of the streamers out there are also doing marketing for them. And can we even have some of the streamers that we have in our system to talk about this game, so we can set up a whole ecosystem around this?
Okay, that makes sense.
Giving the streamers some of our tokens, and giving the streamers some of the early tokens for this game, so they can be holders, hodlers on this, and they can actually have stuff really, really early and be interested in actually push the game.
So you're trying to, so just to see if I understand, so you're trying to set up a whole ecosystem. So as you build up people holding Gamers.Gold tokens, you can also then, if someone makes a new game, that can be attractive to other people who hold Gamers.Gold tokens. So in that way, you can have a network effect. So starting with the first game, you'll get the first game, then it doesn't mean that much. But the second game, okay, some people will try that, and then the third, and then just say you have eventually a few thousand users, then they can try to make a game, just use your generic token, so they don't have to rebuild their whole token. I mean, but then that begs a question for me: is if someone's making a game, is doing the whole token part of it, then is that quite a lot of work? Because I know what it's like to build a web game, and it's difficult, to build any game on the web. You have to have a lot of stuff server side. You have to have a lot of, you have to have good JavaScript skills and HTML and CSS and all that, and you have to know how to make a good game as well in the playability. So there's a lot of skills go into it, but is it that hard to actually make a token for a game as well? I mean, I know, for example, I think it was either Decentraland or Axie Infinity. They used to run on Ethereum, I think it was, and then they switched to another layer 2.
I think it was Decentraland.
It's Mana. I think so. Decentraland, and they then made their own blockchain. Eventually, because
they had to.
they had to, because it had so many transactions. I mean, is Gamers.Gold, are you from the outset, are you planning to be, depending on how far away it is, because if you're planning to launch in 2 years, then you could run on Ethereum, because by then it will be Ethereum 2, and you'll probably have 100,000 transactions a second, hopefully. Or are you planning so were you planning to launch it?
We're going to find an ecosystem in the right size that will grow with us. That had a big enough user base as well. We're looking for grants, of course, and we're looking into companies that can see that, okay, this is a business where we have to invest in heavily, because it's going to be good for us and it's going to be good for them. So synergy is really important for us as well. But when it comes to the token that we're talking about here, Gamers.Gold is a stable coin, because we don't want people to come in, buy 100, and the next day it's worth 1. They just sit down in the chair. I'm going to play for money today. No, because you have one, you have to buy again. That would be the death of us.
So
it's not
compared to what?
For
Are you saying you do want? So what's it going to be stable compared to?
There's two coins. One is stable, and one is for the crowdfunding. The one that you're playing for is, but that is also the thing that you asked for. Can they have a coin in their game that is like Gamers.Gold? Yes, of course. It's like colored tokens. They just produce one more, and it's going to be pegged to the gold as well, or diamonds or whatever they will, because it's just an equation. Then we figure out what it's worth. The thing is that is interesting for other games to have Gamers.Gold, or let's say Toyota Gold coin, because then people understand that it's to the gold standard. That we're bringing back the gold standard. This is actually worth something, because it picks to the gold. It's worth something that people can understand, like, okay, wow, but it's also, it doesn't fluctuate that much. So you're not going to get robbed here. You can hold it, but you're not going to get rich, but you're not going to get robbed. So it's kind of a security. This is because we want to be a safe haven for gamers. We don't want any crooks in here. Anybody who's going to steal from anybody, there will be KYC all over the place. And that's very important for us, that we also are looking into anti-money laundering and what's going on in that business. We can look into that with the artificial intelligence and a lot of surveillance. But the thing is that we want to have a token that people understand what's worth. Then we're going to do the crowdfunding token, so people can actually buy into us and just a normal crowdfunding token. But the reason why we have that is also because people will understand, if they use this crowdfunding token and it's rising, it's getting worth more, which is good for them. They can still play with it in the game because it's really easy for us, because it's our token. So it's really easy for us to understand those two qualities. If it's Gamers.Gold, or if it's Gamers.Gold crowdfunding, it's going to have the GGC name.
But can I ask you a question? So is this I mean, how did you come up with, how did you know you needed this? Why did you build this? Was this a problem that you had when you were playing games, that you wanted a token? Or, I mean, are you a gamer yourself?
I'm a gamer, yeah. But the thing is that most games are like, if you want to be in a tournament, it's like getting into to become a football star in Barcelona or whatever. Because the thing is that it takes you a long time. You have to start at 6 years old, and then you probably become a good football player when you're 20. Maybe you don't, because there's a long way. Not only in years, but also in if you're really good and you can go into these football clubs. And this is the same thing here in the tournament business. We have Astralis here in Denmark, and Astralis is one of the known companies that have a really good team on Counter-Strike, still winning. The thing is that they're world champions. The thing is that it's not everybody who gets into that team, of course, because you have to be good. Then you can be in the tournaments. You can make the 9 million tournaments, but you can also go into 100,000 tournaments. But it's still hard. It's not easy. Why not just bring it out to the public and say, okay, set up a battle. It's a tenner. Do it now. Don't wait for 4 hours or a whole weekend to set up a team. Or anything. If your friends are there, you want to play for a tenner and just for fun, see if you can battle somebody, because there's an edge in gaming. And if you play the game for like 2 years and you're really good at it, you only get the honor. But why don't you get paid here? And make it as a living. If you find out you can actually do this as a streamer and a good gamer, and you don't have to go into all these tournaments, there will be big tournaments. We will also build big tournaments, but we will be able to actually look through your statistics and see that you are a good gamer. There's no cheat. He actually hits the head 25% of the time. He doesn't have 70 as where you're using aimbot or something, but he's a good gamer and he's not cheating. We can also look into the cheat as well. But it's really important for us to.
Sorry.
No. The thing is also, then it comes back to people. A lot of people are playing from South Africa or whatever, Toronto, from Timbuktu, as I used to say. So you're sitting out there, you're playing alone, and you need a team, but you don't really find some randoms that want to do this. but you want to find somebody you can play with as a team, and we can help people setting up teams all over the world. So the thing is that if you don't have this ecosystem, you don't have an option to find randoms that is equally good. So you're playing with somebody who can't play at all, and of course you will lose your money. So you're interested in trying to find somebody on your level and somebody who actually do the intel and telling there's somebody over there and all this stuff. And that's when you start to build the good teams. And that was my thought about this. I wanted people to do good play, play together. And I think we can do that when there's a stake, because people tend to do more when they can win something instead of just having the honor. Because what is it worse? When the game is over, you forget about that. You play one more game.
Okay. So I'm starting to understand it. So basically, it's so that people can. It will be a whole ecosystem. So someone who uses Gamers.Gold would use it between different teams and games and stuff like that. And so what's been the reception like when you talk to this about people? You know, how have people responded to it? I know that you've sent me quite a few messages. I'm not sure where we actually met in the first place. I think
LinkedIn.
I can't remember now, but somewhere in Copenhagen, I think.
Was it? Oh.
It must have been, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I used to run a lot of events there, and for many years, so it's very likely.
Yeah. I've been all over the place with the visit card, business cards. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll probably met you at one of those events, and so when you go around, I mean, do people get this, or is this something which it's an uphill struggle, or what's the reception been like? Because it's a very unique idea. Because I know most game studios are trying to build, like if you look at almost everything like D-Race and C-Defy Fund and all of the higher cap gaming tokens at the moment, or the ones which are going up at the moment, they're all trying to build just for their own game. You've got studios like C-Defy Fund, of course, but they're trying to make the games, like different games with totally different tokens. I mean, on the other hand, you've got things like the sandbox, and I mean, okay, if you look at something like Minecraft and Roblox, for example, I mean, like Roblox is really like a million different games. Yeah, so I can see that Axie Infinity, Sandbox, and some other coins trying to be like Roblox and making a big game and then letting people make their own games inside it. Yeah. So from what I understand, so you're not trying to make a gaming world like that. You're really trying to do it for smaller, like indie games, which could then have the potential.
No, also the big ones. As I told you, we have the log file, so it doesn't matter what game it is. Of course, that we want to have the API so we can do it in real life. Meaning like instant and on demand. There shouldn't be any lag there, any latency. It should just be go in, set up the game, play it, win the money. The thing is that I know that they're all building on their own. We are going to be the third layer where people can see that I can also take the Axie, they can also take the mana from Decentraland, they can take the sand from the sandbox, they can take all these coins and they can also go in and play with these in other games on our platform. And that's where the smart things come in my opinion, that we actually a swap. We can swap from your newly exploded NFT that is a crypto cyberpunk thing where people are putting that on the table, just like you had your Rolex in the casino earlier on. But now you have a token that is a non-fungible token. And you put that into the equation when you want to play against somebody. It has a value that you can actually pay for. And this is an important thing here, that all these tokens and all these coins get a utility, because when you have them on your credit card, Binance has a Visa credit card now, you can actually go down and use these in the local store and buy some milk and butter. So the thing here is that you just won some money, and now you want to buy a car or a house or whatever, or a student loan for your kids. I don't know. The thing is that it's doable. It's not just something that you talk about. We want to be that transaction too. So all these companies building their own stuff will have the options to say, oh, you can just exchange with Gamers.Gold if you want, because or stay with ours. But if you use this system here and you put that on top on our metaverse, then you have all these games that we can play inside of the metaverse. So now the metaverse of the sandbox is suddenly connected out to Fortnite and all these Tetris and whatever you have out there.
But I assume to kick this off, you're trying to get the smaller games starting to use it, to integrate it first.
No, I don't care if they're big or small. A log file is a log file.
When you say a log file, what do you mean a log file?
Well, who won? Who didn't? We don't need more information than that.
Okay. But maybe that's part of what I don't understand yet. So if you get that information, but someone will still have to sign it to say this is a result of a match or something. I mean,
we have all that is settled and done. We have the unique gaming ID, that game played with the Subir and Steffen. That's not my name in the games, but it doesn't matter. I already have my credit card and everything KYC'd on the Gamers.Gold platform, and your KYC'd on the Gamers.Gold platform, which means that you've shown the passport, not to me, but to the platform. So we all know that you are who you are in real life, but then you are gaming against somebody, and that is me in Tetris, and then you won or something, and then you get the money, because everything is the whole bookkeeping is in place, and that's what they tap into when they have the metaverse. They have all these games suddenly that they can put into their metaverse, because it's all kept and everybody knows who's who. They just want to have some fun games in the metaverse that people can run around and play for money.
Okay. So what do you need to do to build? I mean, are you a developer yourself, or?
No. I have some developers building it for me.
Okay.
One from Kenya and two from India at the moment.
Okay. So what's the roadmap looking like going forward, like, and business development? You know, have you started to make partnerships, or are people committed they're going to use this SDK, or I mean, what's the timeline going? I'm guessing 2022 now.
Yeah, we hope to come out with some kind of a alpha in early 2022, and then we have a beta later on, maybe as soon as possible. We hope we're looking into getting a grant with the blockchain provider that we're going to work with, and we hope to have some when we can show traction. All the investors are looking for traction. If we can show some traction early next year, then the investors will probably also show up, and that is always the goal: show some traction, get some of the bigger names in to have them interest. We can start out having some of the companies, some of the metaverses that are building right now. I'm in dialogue with two metaverses of being part of their space. So there's a lot of interesting things going on here. And again, back to the thought about that. I want to grow with the companies that is being our partners. So, and I think that the whole space is growing. So that's also why the Ethereum and the gas is not so interesting anymore. The gas fees are too high.
Ethereum that's going to come down, but it's a couple of years away. That's a problem.
The Ethereum blockchain is having so many companies into their space that we will just be another one in the space. There wouldn't be any focus on us on Ethereum.
So have you talked? I'm guessing. So you're considering either like Polygon, Phantom, Solana, those sort of guys.
Yeah. Ethereum, Binance, stuff
like
that.
Yeah, Binance Smart Change fast, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, we also have Concordium in our minds.
Which one? Sorry?
They're from Denmark. Concordium. They're from Denmark.
Is that a Danish blockchain or?
Yeah.
Well, so what does that do actually? Concordium.
Well, they're really focused on having anonymity, where you can be anonymous, but not hidden. It's not like if Interpol or CIA is going to ask, or FBI is going to ask for people, they're not going to hide it away, because we all know that the blockchain is visible, and it's very.
Oh, your sound's gone off, by the way.
Is it back on?
Yeah, it's back on now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the thing is that they're very transparent towards authorities, but they want to be anonymous when it comes to people's daily living. And that is because Lars Seier Christensen, who owns Concordium, is a former banker from Saxo Bank. He know that that's one of the headaches, that the crypto is too non-transparent, but also that people don't want to have everybody to look into their economy when they know the public key, and they can more or less track them. They don't want that to happen. So there's a good bridge there. So for that manner, he understands it from the banking world, both sides, and I think that is very smart too. And some of these new companies in the blockchain industry will probably copy paste that idea and do some stuff like this. I really like all the other companies too, because they're also doing different things. But again, and we don't need that much technology to do this. It doesn't require a lot of smart contracts or autonomous agents and all this stuff. But when we first have them, if we have the autonomous agents on top of the smart contracts, then you have a lot of things that you can do when it comes to gamification. Because then, you're playing a game like Tetris, just to make it really simple, and then a coin knows by itself that it has to be put in when these things are coming down and falling into the place, and they know that this one is going to make, because they can see that with artificial intelligence, so those that this one is going to make $1 million. It's going to be the same. It predicts better than a human, because it can have a much holistic and much more. They can hold more numbers in a computer, in a supercomputer, of course. So when we're putting that into the equation, it's just going to be different to play games where there's some autonomy into the games. And I haven't thought it out how we can use it. It's really new technology, but there's a lot of interesting perspectives in all the things that's coming up here. But I think that everybody can understand that there's a lot of workarounds as well when it comes to the future topics, what we're going to do here. But I'm mostly focused on security for the gamer and having a safe platform. We don't want to have more Mt. Gox. We don't want to have all these flaws and things that's going on out there, and crooks running around doing the Wild Wild West things, especially not when you're talking to the larger franchises in the gaming industry, because we can't go out and have something that is not safe for the gamer.
So if you're going to run on this Concordia blockchain, or maybe one of the others, I don't know. So I'm assuming, though, that will have to work with MetaMask. Am I right in thinking that, or do I not understand?
No, not necessarily. And there's so many wallets out there. I want to say that MetaMask is one of the big ones, because it was early on. So of course, if we can come into MetaMask with Gamers.Gold, we can always swap into Gamers.Gold anyway. So let's look at it like this: that the tokens that we produce on one of these backends, blockchain companies here, will be on MetaMask. Why not? But it's not the breaking point for us if it's on MetaMask, because then you can use another swap.
No, not for you as a company, but I mean, for me as a consumer, I know that, just when before I'd used MetaMask, I said, why can't I just put my Visa card in? I tried to like buy something and they said, you have to use MetaMask. I said, I'm not using that. And so it's just got so much traction now that I think that this is what, like whenever I talk to people, they just say, oh, just MetaMask. So
I totally agree. And it's a standard now. And I think that we should be on MetaMask for sure. So okay, I'm just I'm just saying that we can go around it because there is also other swaps out there for the on ramping and for the off ramping. But let's look into it. But it's very technical. It's a lot about the technicalities, but it also depends on the business that we're going to start out with here. What kind of ecosystem they have in their back and what is smartest here. But the world is moving so fast in this space, so I guess that MetaMask is still there in 10 years for sure. But there could also be something that is equivalent or even better. So
yeah, well, if you look at Brave now, they've integrated Solana into their browser. It's incredible. Yeah. So the BAT token's going to do pretty well, I think. But but it's just amazing. I mean, at some point, Google Chrome will have its own built-in wallet as well, and that's going to be when it hits mainstream, I think. So I think that MetaMask is probably going to still do well, but it will have to find some special use case eventually.
True, yeah. But the technologies are moving so fast right now. So as you say that if you find somebody who's actually doing the framework with Google. Why not go with them? Because it's I don't know how many billion people that is. You don't have billions of people on MetaMask, anyways. And I'm not talking bad about any of these companies. I'm just saying that there's a lot of things going on at the moment.
Things are changing fast.
Extremely. Like you saw Visa going into the business with the NFTs. 2 months ago, and now we know that Meta, Facebook is changing name into Meta, and that made the Meta tokens explode. And we know that that's just a sign of what we're heading towards, in my opinion. And now we're going back to the things that I said in the beginning with the hype cycles, and you have these the bell curves that is covering each other here in the scheme here. That that this is a second wave. You had the first with the Bitcoin and the Ethereum, and now you have a lot of companies actually going in and becoming aware of what's going on. Even Twitter is saying that you can use Bitcoin as a donation option. All the big guys are talking about what should they actually go with. So that is also a driver for what we should go with when the big guys are going on. So I'm not going to bet on it because I don't know what they're going to go with. But of course, if we're in the same wave, we're going to get some leverage from the big guys.
You say what the big guys are doing, you mean what blockchains they're going to use? Or
yeah, and if that's
something I'm interested in. That is something I want to know. Is I really want to know who the winners are going to be, because it's not that obvious at the moment. It could be Ethereum, but it could also be Phantom. Who knows? Or it could be Solana. I mean, or it could even be Bitcoin. I mean, what's your opinion on? Do you think we're going to live in a multi-blockchain world in the future, or do you think that most of them are going to be shaken out?
We're going to have so many tokens out there, so you don't know what is what, and then you will have to have somebody understanding what it is. And like Google is indexing everything in the world, so you can search on it. You will have a blockchain search, so you know if it's probably also a certificate for a blockchain, so you know that it's a blockchain that you can actually go with. I mean that if you don't know about Solana and everybody say around you can trust this, you trust it because those that you trust. But if you have nobody to ask, you will just be like, oh my God, you need the trust pilot to ask, and then you have the trust pilot for the tokens, and that will happen. That we have that too. But I'm sure that we have a lot of tokens out there for different things. Companies will have their own tokens. Why not? It's not a problem to have all these different tokens. The most important thing here is that you can swap between these, and that's something that you have to follow up upon as well. But the world works with a lot of companies. The world works with a lot of people, and I don't see a problem with having a lot of tokens at all.
Okay,
It all comes back to the system that provides the security for you as a person, that you're not getting robbed every time you're going out and trying to spend something, because then you can't live. Because the wild west is not nice, but every start is like this. Also, it's like this right now in the blockchain space, but it's maturing, and we see that the big guys are coming in. And also, when you're looking at the what's going on in the US about you have some legislation that they're talking about right now, actually this week, where they're talking about how should they act towards the tokenomics,
sure.
the Bitcoin industry, and all this, what's going on in the crypto world. So I think that there was a bill, I think it was 1 month ago, and they said, no, we're not gonna hold back on cryptos. Cryptos is gonna be here. And that was when after that we had this Visa card coming out and saying, now we go. And that was after that the American what is it called?
After the ETF announced the future ETF futures thing.
Yeah.
But don't forget. But then they said, oh, we're going to regulate anyone who does a $10,000 or more transaction has to announce it. I mean, stuff like that's going to kill them, because that means DeFi just won't work, because so much of it's automated behind the scenes. And so, I mean, people aren't going to cripple their protocols to say, for example, if someone does $1 million transaction on DeFi, if an enterprise, it's very common, they'll do it. An individual, I might do $10 or $20. But if a company does $1 million, I can't see that all these DeFi protocols are suddenly going to say, oh, if we're running in America, we're going to divide it into 100 $9,999 transactions. It's just not going to bother, So I think people will just say, we're just not going to conduct business in America, and if you do so, do it at your own risk. And I see that they're just leaving them. They're doing like China, and they're leaving themselves behind. And then I think in 5 years' time, America and China are going to start trying to get it back, and that's when they're probably going to be paying like $1 million of Bitcoin. And then I mean, look at what China did. That just to talk about the industry now, is they tried to get rid of Bitcoin, and they just gave America the best gift ever. It was amazing. Actually, so I've not followed it much, but what's crypto scene like in Denmark these days?
Well, the thing is that the legislators they don't really like crypto, and that's a problem, because we have this option of we're looking into a world where it's like being in 1998, before the .com burst. We know that we talked about ICOs, and we already had the first burst, but let's look at that. That was in the 80s compared to this. And now the industries are emerging, and no, the Danish government don't want to give soft funding for crypto projects. And there's
what's soft funding? What do you mean?
Well, that's the government money saying, okay, we want to fund this, pre-seed funding. They don't want to do that. So they're actually saying no to a lot of companies that could cast off some jobs here.
Aren't there people like, what about Jesper Berg and all of these type of people, entrepreneurs, or whoever's living in Denmark now? Aren't people starting? Are people starting up a lot of new crypto companies then? Or not? I mean, I do remember there was quite a few gaming companies in Denmark when I was there.
Yeah, there's a few, but it was more interesting before 2017, before the ICO, Then they stopped, and now they're looking at it like, what is it, and should we go into it? And at the moment, we have the wrong government for investments in crypto. They are looking only into green stuff and environmental stuff, and that's where you can get your funding from if you want to go into that.
Can I ask you a question, and you don't have to answer it? Is, have you ever considered relocating because it's a hostile environment then? Or?
Yeah. I was in Dubai this summer.
Okay.
So
that's where Phantom had the developer conferences. Yeah, go on.
Definitely look into moving into one of their free zones down there. Not only because it's a free zone, but also because of I just met a lot of people who was into crypto, who understood it, who was all, wow, this is a new economy. They understood why it is a new economy, because people want to have decentralized finance, and that's why it's going to be the thing, because people are like this. You can't stop anybody from having their own stuff, and when they first find out that they pay the right price for product, that's the market. You can't take it away from them when you first gave it to them. That's also what they know here in Denmark, but that's why they don't want to give it before it's too late. Instead of embracing it, they're rejecting it, and that's the wrong way of doing things. Even when it comes to governmental stuff, you should embrace it. Well, I know why. There's some countries that actually did this. Venezuela going in full, but the thing is that they do it because they're poor. But you, as a rich country, you should do it because you're rich and you don't want to get poor. Because,
do you think that countries like Denmark and other countries who are against crypto, do you think that they could become poor then in the future? Is there a possibility?
If they stay out of it, yes. And I want to say that Dubai is a rich country, and they want to get richer. They know that oil is not going to.
Yeah.
They understand business, but they also had the free zone, so they saw what happened to their country because of the free zone. So they understand of hard taxation. I heard a podcast last night about this. It was the former mayor of Miami, and he said that they are going into crypto. They even had a bill down in their municipality in Miami, and then that when it went through about the Bitcoin, you can use it several places, and it went through. Nobody actually lifted an eyebrow. So yeah, but he's mentioning that California had a big problem because they're taxing the rich people so hard that they're getting out of the place. So
they're moving states. They're moving to a different state. They'll move to Texas or somewhere.
Yeah, of course, it's an evil circle. They are even saying a big FU to Elon Musk by that. By the way, so that's the same thing happening here. They're hard taxating the rich people, so they're getting somewhere else.
Are they moving? Are people in Denmark moving? Actually,
they're moving out of Denmark. Yeah, most of the companies that have produced over 1,000 people in the last 20 years are Danish. That's with Danes are living in US.
Yeah.
They had to move. They had to move simply because the American investors didn't want to put money into something where they're getting half of the money taken when they want to have the market, when they want to exit. So it's like, no, we're not going there. Even companies in Denmark are going to Sweden because the environment is better there. So no, it's not. It's very hostile. And when it comes to understanding business, business is just moving like anything else. Water flows downwards, and that's also
but Denmark's doing. But Denmark's doing great economically, isn't it? Or is that changing? I mean, I've lived in Denmark for the last 12 years, so I have an opinion of how it works. But I mean, I kind of see Denmark as a country which did fantastic in the 20th century, and I don't know where it is now. I don't know, is it getting better or worse? But
no, it's getting better. The thing is that Denmark has a lot of companies built in the 50s. You have Maersk, we have Novo Nordisk, and we have Carlsberg. Just some of them, they're huge, and they have it's not just Danish companies anymore. They're worldwide. For example, Maersk is the second largest.
And Lego.
Container. Lego for sure. Yeah, they're also huge. And Carlsberg is also having breweries all around Europe. Novo, everybody who has who needs insulin.
I used to work at Novo Nordisk actually.
Okay, cool. Yeah. It's huge. So we're doing well, but most of the people are living from some of these old giants. We can still live with the old giants because you can't break them down. They have a specific niche, and that's good. But yeah, you see that was because there was a certain environment back in the days where you could build big companies like this, and this is not anymore. I don't think that it's going to be a bad situation, but for people with innovative ideas like me, it's not so good, and that is because they don't want it. Simply, they have been reading this into what we call the growth fund here in Denmark, and that's governmental owned, and they have said no, we don't want crypto, and that is not
2021, and they still don't want crypto. That's incredible.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but that's very hostile towards new companies.
I've heard many stories like this, by the way, many.
Yeah,
and
people
are scared to talk sometimes about it too deeply, you know.
Yeah, they're scared from it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
So you see that's one of the big schismas that I have in my country, and it also I just know that I have to move because of that.
There's a few crypto companies there, aren't there? Is it Coinify? Isn't that Danish?
Yeah, they got sold this summer to a larger American company.
So they're now American, basically.
Now they are. Yeah.
That
was good. That was a fine merger. I think that they're doing well. Definitely. Actually, I had their CEO as an advisor for a while this year.
Cool.
But then there was all this selling, and he couldn't be in a company that said that they were going to do a crowdfunding, because nothing should smell like ICOs, and that's fine with me. I still think that they're good guys, but they're doing swapping, and I think that they're doing great. I believe that so many things are going to change in the next 10 years that nothing will look like it does right now, if you understand what we're going into.
Yeah.
And that's where Gamers.Gold has to be as well. We're just going to follow up with these people who understands where the world are going. As I told you in the beginning, I also did some of these wrongdoings because it's a new world. Do you believe what it is? But now I'm not 100% what it is. I know where we are, what this technology can do. And I'm going to be a driver instead of just somebody who's banding the wagon. I just want to be one of the drivers coming up with a new ecosystem. We're going to do it in our way. And then I have to say that don't get even. Sorry, don't get mad, get even. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You just get even instead don't mind these people that don't understand that. But there's a big risk here. The worst thing is when the government's coming in late, the whole population will not get the benefit of these new options from the government. But that would also do the iceberg, the tip of it, when it's turning around. It's gonna be worse for the countries that didn't adopt early.
I agree with that. I do,
because when people have Gamers.Gold on their accounts and they can go down and buy milk and sugar with Gamers.Gold, they don't care about the Danish economy anymore. So now the government will come to somebody like me and say, "Oh, can we make a deal?" And I'll be like, "No, you didn't make a deal with me before, so why should I make a deal with you now?" And you have to if you want to work in this country. But I don't want to work in this country. But everybody has my coin. They're using it and they're paying the taxes or whatever they feel for. But I don't want to do anything with you. And that's the biggest danger there is in this new world, I think.
Yeah, it's a new world. It's a new world. I mean, this is the thing is, because I know people are trying to regulate DeFi and crypto, but you can't regulate mathematics always. I mean, I know there's a big spectrum about what is decentralized and what isn't. I mean, Ethereum being like Bitcoin probably being the most decentralized. Then you've got Ethereum, and it's still, it's got a figurehead and some centralization, but it's still decentralized basically. And then you've got Binance Smart Chain, which is like 10,000 times faster, but centralized basically. But most people don't care. And the thing is, I mean, governments for things which aren't properly decentralized. I mean, this is like a philosophy of the true crypto people. Is some of the people are like, we don't want the government to be able to shut us down, because with a lot of, like, if you have, for example, a blockchain with too few validators, the government can just walk in and, say to those people, do what we say or we'll put you in jail, and, people don't think it's going to happen in the West, but it's already happened even in Scandinavia. There's been people who in Sweden and Denmark who this has happened to. So
it's true. That's what's gonna happen. But of course, I'm not gonna reject my old country. If I'm gonna make enough money on this, and we are going to build a new ecosystem as we are striving for, I'm gonna go into education as well. I know that education and reading books and understand stuff is still hard for a lot of people, and there's a lot of flaws out there. I would love to build a university around tokenomics and get all the universities in the world into understanding the gamification. So when people are doing their homework, they're getting tokens to do their homework. They make money from this. when we're putting, and then you see that this is the same model as I'm building right now. Then you have the companies. They want to take that lawyer because he's really smart. She's really smart. And then she is getting tokenized, more tokens, because they want her to see that they want her. So they pick the winners before they're out of their study. So people start speeding up their study because they want to get out and get it working, because it's already merging in the education. So things are moving online, especially in the world where Corona has shown us that we can sit in front of each other and doing Zoom calls or whatever. So we know that the people are gonna get educated like this as well, and we can use the whole platform.
This is all education for me. I'm telling you. I mean, the reason I do this is because I want to learn, from people such as yourself. I mean,
sure, of course.
This is how I learn. Yeah,
but that's how Joe Rogan started. So.
Oh yeah, I love that guy. He's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's why he did the same. That's the same philosophy as you're saying right now. And we all learn when we go into YouTube, and we can learn a lot of stuff. And then we just need the universities to understand that the world is online and coming in on a system where it is all tokenized. The educators will get tokens. The students will get tokens. The universities that are using our platform will get tokenized, and it's all gamified, which means that the whole thing sticks together. When you do stuff, you get tokens. I don't want the old system where if you don't show up to on the campus, you're gonna get a penalty. We want to get people rewarded. It's a reward system where you get rewarded for showing up faster. The more you show up, the faster you can do your stuff. You get highly rewarded. And of course, if people in the company sees that this guy she's studying really hard, then they will actually just be.
So that's not going to be good for me. I mean, I always do my homework at the last minute, so that's going to be bad for me.
But that's natural, because it's not that interesting. Unless you're going into the education that you really wanted to have,
if I got tokens for doing my homework faster, and I got 10 times as many tokens, I'd do them immediately, and it'd probably be fun. Yeah.
even do more homework? Can I study some more to get some more tokens?
Yeah, exactly.
Then I can go and game afterwards because I really need them to beat that guy to get even more. But this is how people work. We know that, and that is the reward that people want. And you can just study something like Pavlov's dogs, and you know that they got fat because they got rewarded.
but that's also a dark side of gaming. I mean, like there's this thing where didn't China recently say that kids under 18 can only game for 2 hours a week? And I mean, seeing kids on their iPads, I can understand that, you know. And I mean, like I've heard about these places where people in some places where they can't earn so much wages, so they rely on gaming. There's been people who've died because they, you know, for them they hate gaming. It's just a job, you know. And so there's a dark side.
There's a dark side to anything, but there's also people in I think it was South Korea that they're living from playing games like Axie Infinity, but it's like they're making their living from gaming. This is where we're heading. This is where Gamers.Gold want to be. We want to give people a chance to actually live from something that is fun, and the dark side. Okay, let me elaborate on that. I found out that 2.5% of a population gets addicted to something. That could be alcohol, that could be drugs, that could be gambling or whatever. But there will always be those 2.5%. But that has nothing to do with the drug they're using. Either it's hard drug or it's alcohol or it's gambling or whatever. But people get addicted to lots of strange things, and I just believe that has nothing to do with the thing that they're using. It has something to do with the will of stopping when the fun is over, and you know, I think that it has something to do with the moral and the behavior that your grown-ups are teaching you.
Well, that's okay, because in Denmark, children are taught well. I mean, in most places in the world, the education systems are nothing compared to Denmark.
I can't say that because I am only educated in Denmark. So,
so yeah. I mean, I've seen it in different places in the world, and you know, I mean, there's a lot of good things in different places, but I mean, Denmark generally, it's generally got a good education system. It's one of the better ones, I'd say.
It is a good system, but there's still it's still tipping over a bit too much on the centralized thinking, where the government is a good guy, and instead of explaining people that it's also okay to have their own money in their own pockets, we don't focus on that. But that doesn't have to do. But that's also like you take some part of it out and you're getting educated in that, and the other part here where you can live on your own, do stuff and be self-providing and build jobs and build companies. We don't focus so much on that. That is very narrow in Denmark. There's not a lot of understanding in this manner.
See, that's the thing is like when you talk to crypto people, you can always, I mean, we could actually go into like a 10-hour discussion about politics in Denmark simply because crypto people actually care about that stuff as well. You know, there's a lot of philosophy behind it. I think we should probably close up now. Cool. But I'll post some links. So where can people find you normally, Steffen?
Well, it's very simple. It's Gamers.Gold. And that's the website. So then there's of course my
Gamers.Gold.
Gamers.Gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and that's the website. And on Twitter and if they want to
I'm also you? On Twitter and on I can link that below as well. My Twitter and I'm mostly on LinkedIn. And everybody is welcome to find me there and ask for friendship. I'm running out of friendships, and I have 23,000 or something now. But I think that Twitter will be the thing in the future. Sure. I might go and build a new Twitter in the future as well, because I think that this one I have right now is it's an old account. I use it though, but it has the wrong name and stuff like that. So I think go and use the LinkedIn. I can't have any more on my Facebook anyway. So LinkedIn is the place at the moment.
I never use Facebook. I use Twitter sometimes. I don't have many followers, not yet, but I use Twitter and I use LinkedIn as well. So yeah. Okay.
I don't believe we could discuss Meta and Facebook, but I agree that we should stop now.
Yeah, we can discuss that offline now.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good.
All right, thanks a lot for today.
Yeah. Thanks for now.